All right, here we go. I think we're live. Welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. And hit the thumbs up button. I'm going live every weekday. I'd appreciate it if you join the family in solidarity and hit that subscribe button. I'm not good at promoting that, so I need your help. Before I forget, please do it. All right, thanks. I want to talk about, for you youngins, if you're under 40... Yeah, if you're under 40, you might not know this song. One of David Bowie's greatest hits ever. But you have to understand the backstory. A long, long time ago, I feel like that's the beginning to that, a song about JFK getting killed. A long, long time ago, hey, hey, something, something, and the gin ran dry. I took my Chevy to the levee. But the levee was dry. Not my gin I like my gin dry. Sorry. We're going to talk about David Bowie. And to understand this, again, if you are under 40, you might not know of this movie called The Labyrinth. It was the original Mashup. Bowie, you didn't get any bigger than him in the 80s. And Jim Henson, you know, the guy who created Kermit, who helped piece together Sesame Street. What else did Henson do? He brought puppeteering to the mainstream. And now, I mean, look at where we are. I think he paved the way for South Park, to be honest with you. I know they're not puppets, but I think what Jim Henson done transformed the world. Remember, Jim Henson has a show called The Muppet Show, which was made for adults. They had like, Willie Nelson. They had like real guests that would come on and do numbers with the Muppets. I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus if you want to watch it. My kids love it. I got the DVDs. One of the greatest shows ever. If you don't like the Muppets, please tell me why. Who doesn't like the Muppets? So now that you understand that back in the 80s, the Muppets that came on the scene, they were one of the biggest things ever. They had the Muppet Show in the 70s. David Bowie had released a bunch of numbers. And I mean, yes, he has great hits. Rebel, Rebel, Let's Dance. Was it Starman? What's that countdown song? 5, 4, 3, 2, blast off. He has that song. Under Pressure with Queen. I mean, you could argue it didn't get much bigger than David Bowie at maybe moments in the 70s and 80s. Let's Dance. I mean, dude, it was a monster, right? But nobody really gives him credit for one of his truly greatest hits. And if you've seen the thumbnail, here's the other thing. This is the other reason why I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Because not only am I bringing you this odd, weird stuff that most people probably don't have the wherewithal to cover, or the insight to truly appreciate how great Bowie was, but I also leave the links in the description. So I actually linked, if you have not seen David Bowie mashup with Jim Henson in the video for Chilly Down, a Bowie song, but he didn't sing it. In fact, I'm going to go search in YouTube later today there's an unreleased Bowie singing version, because Bowie does not sing, the actors sing. So anyways, let's get back. So Bowie is huge, right? Bowie's absolutely huge. And then Jim Henson wants to release this movie called The Labyrinth, or Labyrinth. I don't think it's The Labyrinth. I think it's Labyrinth. With Jennifer Connelly, Jennifer Irish last name. David Bowie's in it. You might know that hit number from Labyrinth called Dance Baby Dance. Or Dance Magic Dance. Dance Magic Dance. Jump Magic Jump. Great song. Holy sh... I've been listening to it all day, okay? So Jim Henson gets this idea where he creates this movie called Labyrinth, where this girl her little brother's taken, she's babysitting. I mean, it's a tearjerker. The baby is robbed right out of the cradle, taken to this weird altered dimension where David Bowie is the Goblin King. If you haven't seen Labyrinth, I can't break the whole thing down, but let's just put it like this. It's an amazing movie. Rent it tonight. You can watch it with your kids. It's got Bowie, and Bowie singing. It's kind of a musical, but kind of not. It's a Jim Henson Bowie collab musical. I mean, if you did not live through the 80s, you missed out. You missed out, because If this was on, you had to hit pause on the VCR for a phone call that was on a house phone. God dang. Those were some good times. Anyways, so for this movie Labyrinth, David Bowie writes a bunch of original hits in the midst of him writing other hits. And I think these hits get overlooked all the time by Bowie fans. Why? Because they're not on his normal albums. Why? Because they're on Jim Henson's Labyrinth movie soundtrack. But it doesn't mean they're not good. Test me on this. In the description, the link to the Chilly Down video. And yes, that wasn't the hit from Labyrinth's soundtrack. It wasn't. Dance Baby Dance, where he's the Goblin King and there's all these Muppet goblins all around him while he's dancing with a baby. I just realized what I'm saying out loud. This young girl that I work with, this young friend of mine, when I was like, did you ever see Labyrinth? You're probably too young. She was like, no. That's the movie where it feels like an acid trip fever dream. And I was like, oh, you've seen it. Yep, that's it. Like, that's what we were raised on in the 80s. Like, Jim Henson. And here's the kicker about this girl I work with. God, I love her. She goes, it was too predictable. I didn't like it. I'm like, nobody in the history of Jim Henson said he was predictable. Nobody was like, oh, the guy who created Kermit out of his mother's green coat and a ping pong ball, that guy's predictable. Like, nobody's ever said that. Between Jim Henson and David Bowie, the least predictable characters that have walked this earth, my friend was like, the movie was predictable. I'm like, you understand, okay? Let's get into Chilly Down, because the hit was Dance Baby Dance, Jump, Magic Jump, Come On Now. Anyways, go listen to it, right? Watch Labyrinth. But the real true great song by Bowie is Chilly Down. It's called Chilly Down. Bowie wrote it, sang by the Articles. It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios, where the Beatles recorded. That's how fucking good this song was, okay? You think I'm kidding around. I'm not playing. Neither was David Bowie. Bowie was like, Chilly Down's a hit. I'm bringing it to Abbey Road Studios. You don't just record any song there. Or maybe you do. Can you just rent it by the hour? Could I rent it? If I just wanted to burp into a microphone? I wonder if they would let me do that. I guess if you got the money, they'd rent it out to anybody, right? Imagine that. You just had enough money to rent out Abbey Road Studios and you just went in there and recorded yourself burping a bunch and being like, ha, the Beatles did this? Awesome. Anyways. So the song Chilly Down. If you don't know about it, you have to watch the video because it features these Muppets that are called Fireys. They were supposed to be called Wild Things. They're called Fireys. And they're basically the thumbnail that I put on here. And David Bowie wrote this song for them to sing, and they just like these wild ones. But I've always had this sinking suspicion that, and this song terrified me, this part of the movie terrified me when I first watched it when I was younger. Absolutely horrified me. I can deal with it now. I love the music, but the music had this like unsettling, very ominous underlying tone to the song. Even though it's like an upbeat reggae song, it has this very ominous feeling to it. I encourage you to watch it. Again, link in the description for the video. Because I always pictured that, like, if the ground opened up and Dante's Inferno, the 7 rings of hell, cracked open, like these guys would be the final ring, the Fireys. They are weird Muppets that are bright red and orange and pink, and they almost like flamingo type, very skinny bodies. And in the video, if you haven't seen it, they start, and when they're singing, they like pop their heads off and start throwing them, and the other ones will play basketball with their heads, and they'll pop their legs off and start golfing with the other one's head. It's like it's an acid fever dream. I don't know what Jim Henson was like. This is gonna make a great kids movie. We're gonna have David Bowie write songs while these Muppets pop their heads off and throw them at each other while they're singing about, like, and that's the other thing, the lyrics. God bless David Bowie. What a great lyricist. He's talking about, like, you know, no matter what's going on, like, it's very, like, greed driven, I'm trying to think of the word. The song is just like, you know, do whatever you want, man. You having a hard time, you got some bad luck, don't worry, we'll cheer you up. It's very like drug dealer-ish. I don't know how else to put it. Very much like, hey man, do what you want. Hedonist, that's it. These guys are like hedonists. And I feel like Dante's Inferno, these were guys with the final boss battle before you got to Satan. These Fireys. They always terrified me. And the way Jennifer, last name, Irish last name, whatever I'm calling her, Jennifer Connelly, Jennifer Irish last name, the way she gets away from these guys, she starts pulling off all their heads and chucking them. So just imagine being like 8 years old watching this, 6 years old, being like, what the fuck is going on? I thought this was the guy who did Kermit and Fozzie on Rolf and Animal. I'm watching this lady rip off Muppets' heads while they're lighting everything on fire, saying like, don't stress, just do whatever you please. So again, very much a fever dream. If you're not following along, again, just watch Labyrinth or the video that I linked in the description. Because you need to understand this. And then you need to get the song into your mind. Because once you understand that it's upbeat but also ominous, and it's got those tasty licks and absolutely thought-provoking lyrics by Bowie, you start to understand that Bowie's greatest song might be Chilly Down. Not might be. Is in contention. The greatest song by David Bowie is Chilly Down from the Labyrinth soundtrack. Let me know what you think his best song is in the comments. You know what mine is, Chilly Down. And he's not even singing it. Maybe I should have one where he sings and one where he's just the writer, director, producer. Because he did produce it at Abbey Road Studios. Again, he felt like this was an important song. Maybe he just had the studio. I don't know the story behind that, and I should find out. But if you think all the collabs that happened today, Supreme and Taco Bell, is that how they got the Taco Bell Supreme? The Supreme Clothing collab did a mashup with Taco Bell, and they were like, Taco Bell Supreme. Or is that not the same thing? I don't know, you can tell them old. But this was a Jim Henson, David Bowie mashup. Two guys at the pinnacle, the apex of their art form, of their craft, coming together to make a movie like Labyrinth. And it bombed at the box office, by the way. Absolutely did horrible, which I don't understand. It's got to make billions since then, but for some reason it just didn't do well. Maybe parents didn't want to take their kids to a hallucinogenic fever dream for a movie. What did Siskel and Ebert give it? You remember those guys? Before they had Rotten Tomatoes, we had two guys called Siskel and Ebert who would give things thumbs up or thumbs down. And people watched the show. They were like really popular nationwide. So Chilly Down, I really wanted to bring that to your attention because if you're having a tough day, you throw on Chilly Down and everything starts to make less sense. Much less sense. God bless David Bowie, I'm missing him. And who knows, we'll find out if the earth opens up and we get swallowed or when I'm going to hell, whatever it is. I'll let you know if I see the fire leaves. I think that's what they're called. Those weird, demented Muppets. I can't believe my friend at work said it was predictable. You could not predict that this girl would get trapped by fire leaves where David Bowie produces a reggae song that's got an ominous undertone, and the way she defeats them is pulling their head off and chucking them. And then the guys start yelling from their dislocated heads, hey, it's not appropriate to throw other people's heads. Like, that was predictable? My friend at work, God bless you, but listen, that's not predictable. This is the least predictable thing. The whole Labyrinth movie, the title, Labyrinth, means a maze. Like, essentially, it means unpredictable. And my friend called it predictable. Funniest thing that happened to me today. And I had to talk about this because I feel like David Bowie's not getting enough recognition for his song Chilly Down from Jim Henson's Labyrinth movie. Please go. And I also linked an article about the background to Chilly Down and the actors that sung it giving a quote, tripping out about how they couldn't believe they were singing a David Bowie song at Abbey Road Studio. And it also says somewhere on the internet in 2016, Chilly Down, the version with David Bowie singing, was leaked. So I gotta find that, and then maybe I'll do a reaction to that. I don't know. Anyways, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would mean the world to me. I go live every weekday. If you hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live, and I'll bring you weird stuff like this, always. So thanks so much for joining me. Salute. Go listen to some Bowie today. It's good for your health.